Sunny beach, strange love. Begin with the surreal image. A sunny beach, balloons floating, a tentacle reaching out. Introduce, I fell in love with the Majesty of Colors. The player is the Eldritch being, exploring choices of kindness or cruelty. Establish the theme. This is a story about empathy toward the incomprehensible. Hook the audience with the idea that Eldritch horror may be the final test of empathy. Why we chase the incomprehensible. Explore why humans create beings that are deliberately incomprehensible, monsters that drive mortals to madness by sight alone. Expand with context from literature, the sublime, Lovecraft, and the human fascination with confronting the unknowable. Pose the central question. Do we want empathy to be this hard? Queen Yharnam's tragedy. Introduce Queen Yharnam in Bloodborne, a ghostly figure, bound wrists, bloodied abdomen, forever mourning her child, stolen by the Great Ones. Preserve the horror of forced pregnancy and loss. Expand with analysis of body horror as a metaphor for empathy and alienation. When gods and humans wound each other. Keep the dual destruction dynamic. Humans exploit the Great Ones, blood as medicine, experiments for knowledge, while gods curse and deform humanity. Expand with cultural parallels. Mythic clashes where mortals and gods wound one another. Sympathetic in spirit. Center on Bloodborne's insight. Humans and gods share suffering, binding them in a cycle. Empathy emerges not from agreement, but recognition of vulnerability. Frame empathy as seeing connection in shared wounds. The paradox of pity. Explore the dilemma. Can one feel sympathy for a tormentor? Preserve the creator's conflict. Pity for the Great Ones, but outrage for their victims. Expand with ethical commentary. Empathy complicates judgment, but doesn't erase accountability. What empathy can and can't do. Pose the question of limits. Empathy does not equal full understanding. Humans can never be Great Ones, but they can imagine. Introduce the psychological concept of theory of mind in simple form. Imagining others' inner lives without ever knowing them. The loneliness of the cosmic mind. Describe what it might feel like to be an incomprehensible being. Infinite awareness, no one to share it with. Frame empathy as a bridge to loneliness, an attempt to connect across unfathomable scale. Slay the princess. Two gods try to talk. Introduce Slay the princess. The long quiet and the shifting mound. Two eldritch halves trying to reconnect. Keep the cycle of transformations, violent misunderstandings, and the possibility of final reunion. Expansion. Treat their transformations as experiments in perspective-taking. Communication as transformation. Highlight the cycle of reincarnations. Each violent clash is also an attempt to communicate, each time altering both beings. Expansion. Link to human relationships. Empathy requires change and costs energy. Seeing yourself as the monster. Focus on the POV shift. The player sees themselves through the princess's eyes. Preserve the unsettling moment of recognizing oneself as the monster. Expansion. Empathy is not only imagining the other, but realizing you might be their horror. Humans as eldritch to one another. Draw the larger metaphor. Humans are eldritch horrors to each other. Everyday incomprehension, different upbringings, values, or even colors already create alienness. Empathy becomes a daily act of bridging unfathomable divides. Eldritch empathy. Language as tool or weapon. Introduce the upcoming game, Eldritch Empathy. You learn a creature's language and then use it with care or violence. Preserve the idea that communication itself can wound. Expansion. Connect to real-world language, tone, word choice, miscommunication. When knowledge lacks care. Keep the example of Bloodborne's One Reborn, grotesque result of scholars forcing divine contact.
Sex 0.05. Expansion, stress the difference between extraction, using others for gain, and relation, meeting others in care. Eyes on the inside. The Majesty of Colors reveal. Reveal the twist. In Majesty of Colors, you were always human, astrally projecting. Preserve the emotional impact. Depending on choices, you wake with joy, grief, or fear. Expansion. Empathy doesn't require perfect knowledge, only honest imagination. Practical lesson. How far can we go? Synthesize the message. Empathy across all stories means effort, humility, imagination, and discomfort. Expansion. Add visual metaphors, mirrors, reversed shots, shifting sound design, as cinematic storytelling tools to embody perspective swaps. Coda plus VR perspective. Conclude. If you can empathize with an Eldritch horror, you can empathize with anyone. Preserve the sponsor segment about I Expect You to Die 3, but frame VR as a metaphorical tool for empathy. New lenses, new perspectives. End with invitation. Empathy is hard, frightening, but worth it.